much of this will be the optics of all of this? There's one of the headlines here in the dailies in South Korea about, how long the handshake will be between these two leaders. Walk us through the importance of this, given how North Korea has very carefully crafted the image of their leader, Kim Jong Un, as well as President Trump, who is looking to show a very powerful image here as he meets with the North Korean leader for the first time.
Well, I think what Trump is trying to do is showcase that he represents the United States. He represents a strong United States that's no longer going to be at the mercy of its own allies, sort of the message he gave at the G7. And though that the United States is perfectly willing to shift and adjust what it needs to do to ensure its strategic interest, and that this is in the end a personal thing, he wants to demonstrate that he can make a deal with North Korea that no other president could, to prove that he's changed this dynamic. I think for the North Korean leadership, you look at Kim Jong Un, and from the start, the North Korean leadership has tried to shape Kim Jong Un in the model of his grandfather, in the model of Kim Il-sung, the founder of the nation. I mean, even down to his look, his haircut, his weight gain. All of that has been geared around trying to make him look like his grandfather, connect him to that beginning of the regime. And their view of the nuclear program is not having a nuclear program just for the sake of having it, but having a nuclear program to fundamentally change the dynamic of North Korea's relationship in the world. And that's how they want to shape this.
Up till yesterday at Pompeo's briefing, Rodger, there was still talk about the CVID and, how steadfast that concept is, and the talk of maximum pressure. The fact that it's being talked about so much, it almost indicates that there's some flexibility in, how strongly that's going to be applied and how strongly they're going to stick to that hard script.
I mean, the reality is that you really can't go into this and say, we are going to wait until you completely dismantle and remove your entire nuclear arsenal and all the aspects of that nuclear program before there's any easing of sanctions or other benefits for North Korea. And this has been North Korea's comment back to the United States all the way through the negotiations. So on the one hand, the U.S. has to demonstrate and be very clear vocally that it is ultimately looking for the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. And it's interesting the U.S. keeps using Korean Peninsula, which is the North Korean word, rather than just North Korea. On the other hand, I think the reality is there is going to have to be some flexibility. There's going to have to be some give and take. It may be, though, that the first phase for the North Koreans that they get is not economic, but it is the exchange of liaison offices in their respective capitals, and that move towards diplomatic recognition.